Hi, thank you for your question. So this is in reference to a video I did where I talked about how, like, as a trans man, a lot of people, when they hear me say, like, I am transgender, they automatically presume that I must be a trans woman. I am not naive to the fact that I am very androgynous looking. However, this is not an isolated experience with me. Trans women statistically are actually much more common than trans men. To be specific, they're 3 times more common. So in general, that is a main reason why, when people think of the term trans, they don't really think about trans men. Now, a prime example of this is the debate surrounding like bathroom laws. See, me, I've always found it very ironic. Because a common argument when it comes to like, the bathroom situation is people will be referring to trans women and they'll say like, really degrading comments like, I don't want a man in the bathroom with my daughter. And I've always found that a little funny because, yeah, you do, you're advocating for it. Not every trans man looks like me. There are trans men who are like, 6 feet tall, like huge beards, strong as hell, on testosterone. And these people are literally saying that they want these men in the bathrooms with their dog. Like, that's what they're saying, because they're not even considering trans men. That's the thing. They're only thinking of trans women. They're not even considering trans men. And that is like a prime example as to how we're overshadowed. Like, we're not even thought of. And to be honest, nobody fucking wants to be thought about in that situation. Like, just let us piss in peace, you know what I mean? But it's just an ironic example because I've been in a situation, when I had like a full beard, I was on testosterone, and I hadn't come out to my kids' old school yet. And I was like, hey, is there a bathroom I can use? And they brought me to the little girl's room. I mean, that's fucking awkward. I didn't go in. It was too awkward. But people don't think about situations like that with trans men when they think of these laws and stuff. They only think of trans women. Another reason why I believe my community is overshadowed is because I think a lot of trans men are scared. There's going to be a lot of trans men who disagree with me, and, I've never gotten along with everybody in my community. But now that my husband and I are like taking recovery seriously, we're trying to be more open and honest. I want to live my truth and not care who that pisses off. The truth is, I think a lot of trans men are scared to speak about, like, any injustices we face. Because it can be embarrassing. Because you're trying to live, in a way that's as masculine as possible. You always feel like you have to be on the defense and prove yourself. And depending what environment you're in, there's people who harass you for it, who degrade you for it. You have to be on alert. You might get jumped for it. And sometimes it's embarrassing, to admit that you can be vulnerable in those situations. Nobody who is on a journey, trying to live authentically like themselves as male and as more masculine is going to want to admit that they're nervous that if they speak out about certain things or if they're open about who they are, they might get their ass beat. It's just a vulnerable place to be in. But I also do think people are afraid of offending people. The truth of the matter is I recognize that trans women do face things that we don't have to face as much. But there are things that trans men face that are pretty fucking scary. I do have to say in the 7 or 8 years that I've been transitioning, I've used a men's room and I've never had a problem. But it's scary. I mean, walking into a men's room and knowing that you might be outed, that they might clock you, that's very scary. As trans men, we do have our own set of struggles, and sometimes I do get frustrated that we're like not allowed to talk about it because, of how it overshadows others when like literally our whole existence is often overshadowed. I definitely recognize that like as a white trans guy, obviously like I hold privilege over like, trans POC. But I do feel like it's important that trans men of all walks of life have the ability to share their story and not feel like they're diminishing someone else's story just by sharing theirs. Something that really upset me is one time I did a video, and of course, like, a lot of my gig is like self-deprecating humor. Like, that's what it is. I like to own who I am. I like to own how weird I am. I'm just the type of person, like, I like to own the weird parts about me. I like to, just revel in the things and take pride in the things that I know society doesn't want me to take pride in, because I'm just that type of person. And I remember one time in a video, I referred to myself as a tranny, and people went fucking nuts. They're like, you can't use that term tranny. That's only for trans women. You can't use that term. I've been called a tranny, a he, she since I was 16 or 17 years old. almost 20 years. And because of that, there's been times I've been targeted, like physically, not just like in a virtual online world. And we can't say that now. Like shit, it's shit like that pisses me off. Our community is already completely overshadowed. I mean, I just feel like to shut us down even more, I don't think it's right. So I think that's a big part of it. I think a lot of people, when they hear the term transgender, they automatically think of trans women because A, they're more common, and B, because a lot of trans men don't want to speak up. I know I'm gonna get shit in the comments from some trans men. Oh my god! I've been in the community for so long and outspoken for so long. Like I said, I don't agree with every trans man out there. But even if I don't agree with them, I do have this baseline of solidarity that I feel towards them. And I think everybody deserves a right to share their story and be recognized if they want to, without being like nitpicked on how they should do it.